Everybody can use a good side piece.
Deadpool 2. Comparing it to the first one, was it better? Was it worse? In your opinion?
Oh man, as much as the first one moved me in how effective the love story between the characters was, this movie ripped my heart out with the gravity of what happened to her. Wow, it made me like, what is it about storylines and characters that make you laugh, that when something bad happens, like it breaks through all your barriers and makes you want to cry? It's like, holy shit, I'll
Dude,
watch other
that
characters
scene,
that are morose
again,
and like they
here we
go
go
through
again
bad
with
things.
the
It
freaking
wasn't expected, maybe.
That scene, and you know it's coming. It's like you can see it that last minute, and he like looks, and when he jumps over the couch after she gets shot, he manages to get behind her and catch her before she even hits the ground. It's so fucking heavy, and you know going into that movie the cable's in it, but it never occurs to you that time travel's involved. It doesn't really,
especially
click.
when they're showing her in like this astral plane, she's in heaven or whatever it is, limbo.
You're like, that's it.
Yeah, she's
That's it.
fucking dead.
Yeah.
Like not thinking time travel. Hello.
Yeah. It
Paradoxes.
doesn't really like click.
Like,
But and you mentioned how Colossus, having like Colossus in there, dude. They did Colossus in other X-Men movies. They did, man, garbage. That Colossus was fucking Colossus.
yeah.
The Russian accent, the gentle giant. They nailed it. They fucking nailed it, and that's all. Ryan
Even
Reynolds.
though he was a slight caricature on top of it, I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was fantastic.
Juggernaut.
Juggernaut was fantastic.
Perfect.
He
Perfect.
was, yeah.
That is the Juggernaut of fantasy. That is the Juggernaut of my childhood. The Juggernaut of not just the comics, but the 90s
not
cartoons.
The Last Stand.
No,
not
that
the
was
Last
the
Stand.
Juggernaut, bitch. A guy who's normal size that they put prosthetic arms on him. It looked terrible. It was awful. It was one of the most insulting things. That movie should be burned. That no one should ever see that again.
Yeah.
That was a terrible movie. But that character.
Couldn't they have done something in between the two?
Do you know
for a serious film? Like,
do you know how they made the Juggernaut? Who the Juggernaut was in Deadpool 2?
Ryan Reynolds.
It was voiced and
Acted.
mocapped by Ryan Reynolds. But the mocap on the face,
Was that same actor?
it
was
was
it?
the director,
Really?
who is also the director of Keanu Reeves. shoot 'em up?
John Wick?
John Wick. He's a director.
Really?
Yes. He did the face mocap.
I thought he was
So
the
behind-
actor from The Last Stand that they
No.
superimposed him in,
Behind
which
the-
I would have appreciated. It's like, hey, remember that guy that played him right there?
No.
This is what he would look like if he was the actual character.
Ryan Reynolds was smart enough to distance himself so far from that shit that
From
he
all
wanted
that,
he wanted no part of anybody involved in it. And to be honest with you, to a true X fan like me, Ryan Reynolds, you know exactly what you're doing. You should be put in charge as an executive producer for all future X films, even owned.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you've already shown that you care
can
about the
capture
product.
the essence of
property, yeah.
who they really are. Although he's gone completely dark with a lot of the stuff. Some of the stuff on cable I don't necessarily agree with 100%. Domino, same thing.
What do you mean?
He's gone to a darker, it's almost like Ultimate. So it's like you got X-Men, like canon, traditional X-Men, uncanny X-Men, and then you have Ultimate X-Men. And to me, he's going more Ultimate. But that would make sense because he's on the X-Force, the darker, grittier side of things. So for like the actual X-Men.
Well, you need a balance because he is so over the top and colorful.
Well, and that's all right. So fine. So for the characters that have been established in the Deadpool 2, keep that. But for the actual X-Men, Xavier, Cyclops, Jean, Beast, Iceman, Angel, Gambit, Rogue, Nightcrawler, Storm, Bishop. These are the people I want to see, by the way. For them, you need a lighter touch. These, you don't need to, they're not that dark. And you know what? We do need to see Magneto in the rebooted shit, but let's do one film, please. I've had enough. What about Mr. Sinister?
Right.
What about,
right,
you know,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
there's a whole plethora of villains that we could pull from. The trilogy is Magneto, Sinister, Apocalypse. Then the wrap up, fuck trilogies. Let's do the quad. Then Onslaught.
Onslaught. You think that would that translate to
Marvel
film?
Cinematic Universe, baby. Everyone. It took everyone. The Hulk actually was the one that gave the death blow to Onslaught's shell, cracked him in half, and then all the humans had to absorb the energy that came from him, and then the X-Men all attacked at once, killing all of the other heroes.
Is that a storyline that you think that would
Dude, the reboot that you were
translate?
just talking about could happen through the Onslaught saga. Because what happened was they had a storyline after the Onslaught saga called Heroes Reborn, where all of the other Marvel heroes, non-mutants, all the mutants stayed the same, but all the other humans died. And for a little while in the Marvel universe, they didn't exist. But they did exist in this little ball that Franklin Richards, the son of Sue and Reed Richards, the Fantastic Four, he had a universe he created in a little toy ball. And all of the heroes lived in there. Their souls were in existence in this separate universe. And at that point, when they came back, they brought them back into the Marvel universe, they all had new looks. That's how you could do it right there. But that's a whole nother thing. In order
Sure, okay,
before
yeah,
you get
yeah.
to that, let's deal with the Marvel people we have, the ones who survive. Thor, Black Widow, Vision, keep all of them. Let's build up and then introduce the X-Men. Build up. Do the X-Men trilogy, incorporating other Marvel people in it, because you can. Apocalypse is another multi-issue
Like across the
villain.
board.
Yeah. He's not exclusive to the X-Men. The Avengers have fought him. He is not a 2-bit criminal. This is a fucking global catastrophe. Apocalypse. You know? Sinister, not so much.
Right.
But like I said, you go Magneto, Sinister, Apocalypse, and then above that you have
Onslaught.
But I mean, you could even do, you know, if you do Phoenix, it should not be. What they're doing now is pathetic, like they did the last time. You don't just all of a sudden one movie, here's Phoenix. That's a trilogy unto itself, because you're dealing with intergalactic shit. The Shi'ar Empire. They need to have. In fact, you know
Sure.
what? I take it all back. Fuck Ryan Reynolds. Hire me.
Yeah, there you go.
Disney,
I support
like
this.
I said, I already
support
consider
this.
myself a company man. I'll stay in my lane. I'll deal with the X shit, but I'll tie it in nicely to your MCU. So, I am for hire. Hit me up. Here's my contact info. There you go.
Do it. Hey. Do it. Do it.
And he does a horrible experiment on
Cable's
mutants.
brother or clone.
No.
Clone?
No, that's Strife. You're thinking of somebody else. Strife is Cable's clone.
Yes,
but
yes.
who
Sinister.
made the
Yeah,
clone?
right.
Who made the clone?
Sinister. Yeah.
Which, so you guys know, Sinister's main goal is to clone a body for Apocalypse's inhabitant. So Cable was born of Cyclops and Madeline Pryor, who is a clone of Jean Grey. So basically, Cyclops and the clone of Jean Grey, it could have been Jean Grey, have a child. It is Cable, Nathan Summers, and he's whisked away to the future to grow up so that he's out of the reach of Sinister and Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And somehow, I can't even remember the storyline, they cloned Cable, so they had another viable body. But Cable was actually the one that they found him, and they infected him with the techno-organic virus, which is why
Right.
he's half machine, because basically it's half the job is done.
Right.
And he's stopping it by using the powers that he has, which is what his mom has, Jean Grey,
Right.
which is telekinesis. He's physically always using that power to stop the techno-organic virus.
Kind of like Wolverine, how his
He's always
healing
healing.
thing is
Always.
always attacking the adamantium in
Always.
his body. So when it gets ripped
So
out of
he's
his
not-
body,
he's-
super healing.
Yeah, way faster.
Yeah.
So same way Cable can't really like control objects with his mind because he's busy doing that. and he
Yeah.
even has to do it in his sleep, and they address that, how powerful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, how powerful he really is, and no one really addresses that.
That he can isolate a part of his mind and,
Which is
and
why
have it active almost as if he's breathing.
Strife
And then,
was so goddamn powerful because he's Cable without having to deal with the techno-organic virus. That would make a great villain for X-Force and Deadpool 3 or whatever you want to call that movie. But that's where I see them going. I mean, who knows? I really can't
cool,
guess.
cool,
But,
cool.
but that's my theory. So the fact that James Gunn was taken off Guardians as it stands right now, and who knows when this episode's going to come out. Most of these episodes are going to come out in 2019. James Gunn may be reinstated. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I've heard moves towards
There's back-
that. Yeah, back
And to be-
channeling.
and to be honest with you, they did. They jumped the gun.
That everybody else is doing. They're so gun shy of being associated with anything that's improper.
It is a Marvel property, but it's a very obscure Marvel property, and I don't know anyone who could have made it what it was. And I don't see there being a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 that has the same voice without him. To the point that the actors have even said, I mean, I don't know about all of them,
Right.
but at least Dave Bautista said he would like, if they don't reinstate him, he would like to be released from his contract. If they all do that, then you don't have a movie. And good on them, because to be honest with you, if you don't have him, in my opinion, you don't have a Guardians movie. I don't want to see that Guardians movie.
So, moving on to Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, which takes place, ladies and gentlemen, simultaneously.
Concurrently. Yes.
Everyone was like, oh, where does it fit in? And you won't know until you get to the end credits.
Thought the rationalization about him not being a part of all that and the government going after Hank Pym and Evangeline Lilly's character, I had to forget her name. I thought that was a little weak, but who cares? Whatever. Like,
It moved
I mean,
it moved
it makes sense that he got arrested, but like put on house arrest. That's a little weird too. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You know
Leniency
what?
for
I don't
heroes.
care,
Okay.
weird or whatever. That storyline's hilarious.
It is.
He's got a certain amount of time left before he's off house arrest.
It is.
And he has to keep getting back.
And at the last
fact
minute,
that they
it's
put
like-
the thing on the ant and the ants
Yes.
walking around the house.
And playing the fucking drum. Dude, I loved that movie. The position that it left Scott in, which is probably going to have a bigger.
predicted it.
Yeah, there's a bigger connotation to how that's going to lead into Infinity War, the
Let's
second
rewind
Infinity
here
War.
and go back to, I believe it was Connect 4 episode 5. Let's replay that scene real quick. Doctor Strange and I'm gonna see what you say.
Yeah.
But I think Doctor Strange and one other Avenger are gonna be the key to
Scarlet Witch.
I don't agree with that.
There's other that or Vision.
Nope.
What other Avenger can take on? Not Thor.
Ant-Man.
Huh?
Going down to the quantum, they explain
Oh, when he saw
the
Infinity.
laws of physics no longer apply. The gauntlet doesn't do anything to him when he's micro that small.
You're right, because remember he became an eternity. He saw eternity.
Yes!
He saw eternity. You're right. The law.
So
Whoa! How did you figure that one out?
just like I said, the movie ends, Ant-Man's in the quantum. Nailed it.
Kind of stranded there
Yeah, well-
until whatever mechanism in Infinity War he finds a way to do it.
He has whatever that energy that he was getting.
Yep.
So somehow he'll be able to like send out a beacon or something, and Stark will pick him up when he comes back to Earth, or who knows? I mean, there's a million ways it could be. If you guys haven't seen those movies, catch up, see the movies. We just spoiled the shit out
Oh
of it.
shit! Yeah, we're gonna go rewind and put a spoiler alert
I always
somewhere.
put spoiler
Put a
alerts
warning.
at the
Yeah,
beginning of every
okay.
episode.
Well then, what the hell are you doing here if you haven't? It's
fuck
your own
outta
fault. It's your own fault, motherfucker.
But it's a
Fucking
double
survived.
feature, you know, like
Yeah, it is.
It's
It is
not
part
over
one
yet.
of two.
That lady has not sung.
And you know, I think a valiant end for Captain America is what he's looking for.
And they set
And-
some of it up too. They're looking him dead in the eye, holding his two fingers.
Yeah, no doubt. What was the other thing that I wanted? I mean, we had kind of talked about the Hulk and his kind of blind rage and how he's kind of very childlike.
Hulk, you.
And
What
then,
did he call him? You big baby or something?
yeah, you know, like it's the struggle for the logic and reason versus your just pure emotion, and like childlike immaturity, like emotional immaturity, and you see that evolution where in Ragnarok he was able to get out a lot of that aggression, so it allowed his mind to calm down a little bit more in order to actually be able to speak and rationalize as the Hulk. Yeah.
That? Let's not think too deeply.
Well,
this
I mean, you
can
can't explain that just because it just kind of took over. He allowed himself to live in it.
And what I'm saying
he finally gave over
why
to
do you
abandon.
think he doesn't want to come out now then? Because he feels underappreciated. Okay, Banner, you want to take over? Fine, take over then. Take over.
I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it.
Said he's scared.
I don't think that's
he's scared.
He is scared. He's a little child that thought he was the biggest and baddest, and he got shown that he wasn't. And he doesn't know how to fucking act because he was the biggest and baddest. Puny God, bam, bam, bam. And so now he's like, nah, I'm not going out there and like getting my ass and shoot out. But like, I think that's the cool thing about his art.
Then, what about that whole scene in the very beginning where they're like all trying to save Banner, like pushing him out of the way? What if fucking car landed on him? Do you think he's just gonna die? No. You should have let him get hit. Because the moment he gets hit, it's like put the bullet in his fucking mouth and guess what happens? The green guy spits it back out. He's not going to die. They should have let him get hit.
He's not going to die, you're right.
Whatever. But what is he, why is he fighting? We don't know. I agree with you on that. He's a little scared. I do think that. But I also think
it's the catalyst for Banner and Hulk to finally...
In Ragnarok. He felt like he did in Ragnarok. He feels underappreciated and fucking...
But both of them did. Banner felt underappreciated, so did the Hulk. Hulk was upset that basically all of humanity kind of rejected him. And then and Banner's like, oh, you're just using me for the big green guy to fight. And he's like, no, I prefer you. Like that's the crux of his existence. And it's not until both of them can embrace each other and appreciate the strengths of all of himself. Not just I'm just this, I'm just that. No, you're all of that. And you have to embrace, each part of you has to embrace the other for you to,
you say the Gray Hulk.
Your final form. Your final form!
Final form!
Run over 9,000! Yeah, that's gonna be it. And then once that happens, fucking watch out. That shit's gonna go off, dude.
So we got like a little less than a year.
Yeah.
It'll be awesome to see. I can't wait.
Hell yeah. Speaking of Wolverine.
Okay. That will bring us into this new subject, which isn't really that far different. We're going to go right into the comic books. Modern Marvel comic books.
Yeah.
You told me recently. Go ahead and tell me again.
Oh, I read on the internet that we all know that Wolverine died, and then he came back, and he's been laying low. He's been doing his little stint in almost like after credit scene type stuff. But there's a rumor that he's getting a new superpower. Does he need it? Does he? But apparently, it's his claws get hot. He has hot claws.
What are you doing?
Why do you need hot claws? They're super fucking sharp. They cut through anything. What is heat gonna do that's not already doing?
When you told me about that, I went, okay. I'm not even going to look at it. I'm going to read the stupid storyline and see where it goes, but I can tell you right now, it's probably not going to stick. They did something recently, and they're trying to make it stick, where they created Weapon X created a new creature that is an amalgamation of all the Weapon X's. So Lady Deathstrike with the crazy long fingers that grow, and they're adamantium. Wolverine with his claws.
Does that mean claws?
Three claws, just like Wolverine. Let me put it to you this way. There's a guy who can turn into the Hulk. Imagine the Incredible Hulk with Wolverine claws and several other Weapon X powers all in one character. Weapon H or something is the way they're calling it. It's terrible. It's one of the most ridiculous things I have ever seen. I read an issue here. I went in and out of issues.
This, my friends, is what you call the kitchen sink. Don't know what to do. Can't make up your mind. No fresh ideas. Let's take all the old stuff. Let's just pile it on there. Oh, a little scoop of that. Gonna pile it on there too. Oh, you like that one? Gonna pile that on there too. Kitchen sink, all the shit. There you go.
So my theory, when you told me about the heating of the claws, is this is their way in an oversaturated Wolvie universe to make him unique again. Because not only do we have Weapon H now, we have X-23, who is the new Wolverine for a while. She's going back now to being called X-23, but for a minute, the all-new Wolverine was the name of the comics, and it's her wearing the original blue and gold Wolverine suit, but it's X-23. And then to replace her, there was another clone, X-21 or 22. Or
what happened to her?
She's still around, but she's younger. So they're just making them like, because when X-23 came, she was a young girl.
Yeah.
Now she's older. So they need another younger. So there's like all right, hold on. Let me finish. And then you have Jimmy Hudson, Jimmy Jr., James Hudson, Wolverine's son, who is exactly him, except instead of brunette or black hair, he's blonde. So it looks like if you look
saber-toothed Wolvie?
No, because he looked the same hair, the same face, 3 claws that are adamantium. Jimmy Hudson goes by Wolverine. Not anymore. Now that Wolvie's back, somehow they're gonna fix this. Then you have Dakin or Dankin or whatever the fuck his name is, who is his other son that he had with the Japanese woman that has 2 claws coming out here and 1 here. And then, shall I continue? Listen, there's a whole Wolverine universe. They went, people like Wolverine, let's just make a whole universe of Wolverines. They did the same thing with Spider-Man, but you know what? I must say, with the Into the Spider Universe shit that they have with that cartoon, that looks awesome. Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, all these, like, that's cool. But you're doing Earth 616, Earth 362, Earth whatever, like, that makes sense. But when you're just like in this universe that exists, Wolverine had sex with like 50 chicks and they all had kids that have claws, like, come on, that's weak, man. And this is all post me reading. Like, I got back in when they started up Blue and Gold, so I've been forced to deal with this. And I go, well, in this storyline, I guess I will accept that for whatever fucking reason. But ultimately, it's a bad idea, and I can promise you this, that the Marvel Cinematic Universe won't do that. They're not going to bring all that shit in. They're going to deal with the classic. They're going to deal with the same way that they've done with all the Avengers and stuff.
What?
Here's what you have to understand about the comics too. The only comics that have not betrayed themselves is Image, and more specifically Spawn. Spawn's number count, if you buy a Spawn comic next month, your count will be the continuation from what it was when it started.
From number 1, yeah.
Period.
Straight through.
Yes. You can go to DC or Marvel, and you're going to find reboots a bunch of times. Probably more for Marvel. I'm not, I can say that for DC, at least on your comic book side. Yeah, you had the New 52 and what do they call that?
They've rebooted a few times.
But Marvel just, after they did the Heroes Reborn, after the Onslaught saga, and then it just kept going. And it's like, oh, let's reboot again. A couple years later, let's reboot again.
Fatigue. It's fatigue.
I've had
and so here's my thought, and I kind of had the same conversation with one of my coworkers. That I was talking about Superman, and specifically the Doomsday thing, and like, she suggested that I just didn't enjoy Superman, and that wasn't my point at all. My point is, I enjoy compelling storylines, and a lot of Superman did not interest me, and I only started reading them again more seriously when he died, and then saw the aftermath, and then brought up him coming back, and I read it for a little bit after that and then went, okay, I'm over it.
They should have never killed such an iconic character and then brought him back.
Yeah, Where's the so this is my problem with American. Yeah, where's the accountability? Where, I mean, when death can be circumvented so easily,
then why is anyone ever going to care? When
exactly.
they killed Wolverine, you know what they said? He's going to stay dead. He did not stay dead. Who believed he would have stayed dead? Nobody.
So we can't make room for new ideas, new storylines, new characters. Now, Japanese animations, it's very popular to have mini-series. There's a story arc that has a beginning, middle, and an end.
Yes, and it actually ends.
And ends.
Yes. Why not?
So yeah, why not? It's like, why bring Dragon Ball Z back again?
Ugh.
Like it.
They didn't need to make
because
that to begin
Goku
with.
has another big bad guy that's even bigger and badder,
Is there
and
another
someone that
son
he
to
can
throw somebody
train more
through?
at, and then and someone else to train more at, and then I can't train anymore. I'll merge with the other guy that trained a lot, and then I'm like even Super Saiyan level 5 monkey tail pigeon butt. Whatever
Without
the fuck.
finality, it isn't. It means
yeah,
nothing. They are taking away everything.
You need, it has to say something about society, which was my point about Superman. I wanted to make a Superman movie that took the death of Superman and made it portray it the way I felt it in my soul, which I think
that book was amazing.
Yeah. If you made that movie and really approached it as if Superman, who at that point in time, and rightfully so, everyone was getting really tired of him. He was passé, overpowered. You always knew he was going to win. He's Superman. How could he ever die? You start taking them for granted, and then you start dragging him down. You start actually even kind of hoping that he gets hurt and dies, or just like, good, you can't die. I want everyone that you love to die.
He's the most
You start wanting to
overpowered
shit
as
on
it
him.
is, dude.
And that's true. But here's the thing, okay, now think back to how you felt about America before some planes hit the World Trade Center.
I know where you're going, but I'm just saying this
So-
already.
so
Fuck Superman, Captain America.
Superman, and him actually this big, powerful threat that came out of nowhere and fucking destroyed him when everyone, and then what it did, other than to change your perspective of the fact that this guy could never die, is that you're mortal too. Everyone's mortal, and there isn't a Mr. Fix-It to solve all your problems. You're in charge of your own life,
Negate that by
and then
bringing him back.
and then they negated it later on by bringing him back, or and then what I did love later on when things got really dark and all the superheroes started fighting each other in their own civil war is basically Wonder Woman breaks somebody's neck pretty much live on television. And everyone's like, what the fuck? And then they get in this kind of ideological argument, and Batman says to Superman, Clark, give it up, man. You haven't inspired anyone since you died. And it was and my friend Adam
the
clued
best
me
line
into
ever.
that. And I went and I read it, and I was like, he's certainly right. That was the coldest, hardest dig, knife in the gut kind of moment where you're like, oh
That's a
shit,
straight up Batman line too, though.
no doubt. And and isn't it true? And I think it's a statement about the state of comic books and how much it regurgitates and how much nothing matters anymore. So that's where I wonder and kind of worry about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and whether or not DC has even a prayer of even regaining their soul. And
Not under the current leadership.
Yeah.
I have absolute faith in Kevin Feige and the people at Marvel working on the movies. The people at the comic book place, not so much anymore. And I'd work for you guys too. If you want to bring some stability back to your shit, we'll do one more revamp and we'll bring it back to some sort of reality, and then you guys can run from there. So hire me temporarily if you want. But I can bring you guys back to something that people would
Kill your characters. Have them stay dead. don't have revamped Flash 5. Everybody's a speedster. Like
We don't need 10
powers,
Wolverines.
Powers,
We don't need 50 Spider-Mans.
It's like the Incredibles. When everybody's incredible, no one will be.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
You're taking away
all of the weight behind
Yes.
the significance of it is gone.
How
so
awesome was Wolverine until now there's 50 of them.
we're all gods. So then what significance does God have in your life if we're all gods? Unless there's we're all on our own journey, and there's a beginning, a middle, and end, and it's the struggle that is the point.
Indeed.